Let's talk honestly. You've probably heard the word narcissist thrown around everywhere. Lately on social media, in relationships, or even in pop culture. It's one of those words that's become a kind of emotional weapon. He's such a narcissist. She's obsessed with herself. But is narcissism just about vanity? About taking too many selfies or craving attention? Not really. Narcissism is much deeper. It's psychological, emotional, and in many cases it's a form of pain wearing a mask of perfection. Psychologist Sigmund Freud first introduced the term narcissism in 1914 to describe a stage of human development when a child learns to love itself, a necessary, even healthy, process. But when that self-love becomes distorted, when admiration replaces empathy, it becomes something else entirely. This story, or rather, this exploration is about understanding that distortion. We're not here to demonize narcissists, but to understand what's happening inside. Because once we understand, we can also talk about healing for both the narcissist and the people who have been hurt by one. So, grab a coffee, breathe in, and let's dive in together. Every behavior has a beginning. For narcissism, it often starts where everything does in childhood. Psychologist Heinz Kohut, who developed the concept of self-psychology, believed that narcissism is not just arrogance or ego, it's a failure of emotional development. He said, the capacity to be alone, to feel whole, comes from being seen and mirrored by caregivers. When that mirroring doesn't happen, when a child isn't seen, valued, or loved for who they truly are, something breaks. Imagine a little boy who's only praised when he wins a game, or a girl who's only hugged when she brings home good grades. They learn quickly, I am only lovable when I'm perfect. This becomes the root of narcissism, a deep hunger to be seen and admired, because once, long ago, they were unseen and unworthy. Clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula, one of the most recognized experts on narcissism, explains, narcissism is a story of emptiness, not excess. It's the wound of never being enough. So before we judge the narcissist as arrogant, we might need to see them as wounded. Because behind every I'm the best is a quiet whisper of I'm afraid I'm nothing. As those wounded children grow up, they learn to survive by creating a mask. That mask might look like confidence, success, or charm, but it's a fragile performance. Underneath, there's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of being ordinary. Fear of being seen as they truly are. The famous psychoanalyst Carl Jung described this as the persona, the mask we wear to face the world. But for the narcissist, that mask becomes their entire identity. They become addicted to admiration. They crave validation the way others crave oxygen. Every compliment, every like, every follower on social media becomes a drop of emotional fuel, what psychoanalyst Otto Kernberg called narcissistic supply. And when that supply runs out, the mask starts to crack. That's when the narcissist often lashes out. They might belittle others, start conflicts, or manipulate, not because they enjoy cruelty, but because they are desperate to protect their fragile ego from collapsing. As Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading researcher on self-compassion, once said, when we lack self-compassion, we build our worth on comparison. And comparison is a fragile foundation. The narcissist's life becomes an endless performance, a balancing act between admiration and anxiety, always afraid that if the world stops applauding, they'll disappear. Let's peel off the mask for a moment. What happens when the narcissist is alone, when the applause stops and the mirror is silent? Underneath the arrogance, there's pain, a deep, unspoken loneliness. The narcissist's ego is like a house built on sand, impressive on the outside, but trembling underneath. According to Dr. Eleanor Greenberg, who specializes in narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, many narcissists oscillate between two internal voices. The grandiose self, I'm special, I'm perfect, and the deflated self, I'm worthless, I'm a failure. The constant swing between these poles creates emotional chaos. This inner war explains why narcissists often sabotage relationships, not because they don't care, but because closeness feels dangerous. To be truly seen means risking exposure. And exposure means being reminded of that old wound, the feeling of not being enough. So they push people away. They control. They demand admiration, all to keep the pain at bay. But it never really works, because deep down, they're still trying to earn the love they didn't get as children. As the psychologist Erich Fromm wrote in The Art of Loving, the narcissistic person loves not the self, but an image of the self. It is love turned inward, yet empty. If you've ever loved a narcissist, you know it's both intoxicating and exhausting. At first, it feels magical. They make you feel chosen, seen, even adored. That's part of their charm. They know exactly how to reflect back what you want to see. But over time, the light turns into shadow. The warmth turns into cold criticism. It's what experts call the idealized devalue discard cycle. First, they idealize you, put you on a pedestal. Then, when you show your flaws as all humans do, they devalue you. Finally, when you're drained, they may discard you emotionally or literally only to seek another source of validation. This cycle isn't love, it's survival, and it leaves the partner confused, questioning their worth, even their reality. This is what psychologists refer to as gaslighting, a manipulation tactic that makes the victim doubt their own perception of truth. Yet, it's important to understand, narcissists don't do this because they plan to hurt people. They do it because they don't know another way to relate. Their emotional blueprint was built on conditional love, and they repeat what they know. As Dr. Ramani says, narcissistic relationships are trauma-bonded, not love stories. They are survival dances between two wounded egos. Now comes the most important part, healing. Yes, narcissism can be healed, but it's not easy. It requires honesty, self-awareness, and often professional guidance. The first step is recognition. A narcissist has to see that their armor isn't protection anymore, it's a prison. Healing begins when the narcissist can tolerate vulnerability, when they stop performing and start feeling. Psychotherapy approaches like schema therapy, self-psychology, and compassion-focused therapy have shown promise in helping people with narcissistic traits reconnect with their authentic selves. These therapies don't attack the ego. They nurture the abandoned inner child beneath it. As Dr. Jeffrey Jung, the founder of schema therapy, explained, behind every maladaptive behavior is a child trying to get their needs met. Healing begins when we listen to that child instead of silencing them. For victims or partners of narcissists, healing means something different. It means reclaiming your boundaries, rediscovering your identity, and recognizing that love doesn't mean losing yourself. Therapist Lisa A. Romano puts it beautifully. Healing from a narcissist isn't about revenge. It's about remembering who you were before you forgot yourself. So if narcissism is the disease of disconnection, then the cure is compassion, not the shallow kind, but real self-compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff defines it as treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend. This is radical for narcissists, because they've spent their whole lives seeking compassion from others, not themselves. Self-compassion teaches us that we are worthy without performance, that we can fail, make mistakes, and still deserve love. It breaks the illusion that worth must be earned through admiration. For people recovering from narcissistic abuse, self-compassion is equally essential. It's what helps you stop replaying the story of why wasn't I enough, and start asking, why did I think I had to be? Healing, in the end, is not about changing the past. It's about rewriting the meaning of it. Maybe, as you read this, you realize that we all carry a little narcissism inside us, and that's okay. It's human to want to be seen, loved, admired. The problem only begins when that desire replaces empathy, when we use others as mirrors instead of partners. As Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So the real journey is inward toward awareness. Because the moment we see our reflection clearly, we can stop polishing the mirror and start tending to the person inside it. Narcissism isn't a story about villains and victims. It's a story about wounds, survival, and the search for self. The narcissist wears a mask not to deceive, but to survive. The people who love them are drawn in, not because they're weak, but because they recognize something, a mirror of their own unmet needs. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, messy, and humbling. But it begins the moment we stop running from our reflection. As the Buddhist teacher, Jack Kornfield said, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. So maybe the question isn't how do we fix narcissists? Maybe it's how do we help the world feel seen again? Because at the heart of every narcissistic wound is the same longing that lives in all of us. To be seen, to be loved, to be enough.